begin our look at sports this Friday morning on the NBA hardwood, where the Brooklyn Nets remain in a true funk. The Nets' losing streak reached 7 games on Tuesday as Brooklyn let another fourth-quarter lead slip away and fell in overtime to the OKC Thunder. Final score 111-103. This time, veteran Chris Paul proved to be the Nets' kryptonite as he scored 20 of his 28 points in the fourth and overtime to power Oklahoma City to the win. The Nets are now 16-20 for the season, 12-13 without Kyrie Irving, and 2.5 games ahead of Charlotte for the number 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. The team has essentially been in every game they've lost during this skid, but they have been, blowing big leads in the fourth quarter that have really cost them game after game. Going into Tuesday's matchup, the Nets had been outscored 123-81 in the fourth quarter over the last 4 games. To boot, they haven't won a game since our BronxNet cameras took in the Kyrie Invitational at the Barclays on December 23rd. Not sure if that means anything. The Nike Kyrie event was highly successful in year 2 and featured some of the top high school players in the country, including Jonathan Kuminga. Here's more.
It felt great, even if it didn't really feel great, because one of my teammates, he's eligible right now. And we really needed him here, but we had to play together and just play for him. For the end of the season, it's just going undefeated. Me and my teammates, we're just going to go undefeated and keep working on everything, and we're going to be fine.
It was very cool to be part of that. I'm pretty sure David Fizdale doesn't think it's cool how the New York Knicks treated him, but publicly 1 month after he was fired as head coach of the Orange and Blue, Fizdale said, quote unquote, that he has no ill feelings toward the organization. As for the team, the West Coast swing hasn't been kind, despite a much improved effort under interim head coach Mike Miller. Emmanuel Mudiay scored a season-high 20 points against his former team, helping power the Utah Jazz to a 128-104 win over the shorthanded Knicks on Wednesday night. The Knicks will welcome New Orleans tonight to the Garden. Still no Zion Williamson as he recovers from injury. The Nets will host Miami tonight. And as a side note here, he may be coping with a nagging shoulder injury, but Kyrie Irving still remains popular among NBA fans. Despite missing the last 25 games, Irving currently is in second place in the 2020 NBA All-Star Game fan voting among Eastern Conference guards. Brooklyn Nets star apparently not only plans on returning to game action within the next week, but also seems eager to show off once he's back at full strength. In the WNBA, the New York Liberty are now at full strength with a new head coach in place. Walt Hopkins officially was named the New York Liberty's new head coach on Wednesday. So all 12 WNBA franchises' top roles are now filled. Hopkins enters a situation quite different than his Liberty predecessor, former WNBA player Katie Smith. During her 2 seasons coaching the Liberty, they played in the small and somewhat remote Westchester County Center in White Plains. It was announced in October that the Liberty will play at Barclays Center in Brooklyn starting in the 2020 season, a huge step for the team. How about a step back in college basketball? That's the story for St. John's. Georgetown easily beat St. John's 87-66 on Wednesday night. In other local action, Fordham men's hoops will take on St. Bonaventure Saturday. Tomorrow, that game tips at 2 p.m. From hoops to the gridiron, divisional round of the playoffs on tap this weekend. Saturday, we'll see number 6 Minnesota at number 1 San Francisco at 4:35 p.m. Eastern. That will be followed by number 6 Tennessee and number 1 Baltimore. That game at 8:15 at night. Sunday, number 4 Houston travels to number 2 Kansas City for the 3:05 start. The final matchup of the weekend has number 5 Seattle at number 2 Green Bay. 6:40 kickoff on Sunday there. A spot in the championship games is on the line. Back here in New York, the New York Football Giants have announced their new head coach after missing out on Matt Rule and Mike McCarthy. Joe Judge was a surprise hire, even to those making the hiring. If you asked me a week ago, 10 days ago, I would have said it probably would have been a long shot. Co-owner John Mara said at Thursday's presser, announcing the former New England assistant. Judge definitely talked a great game in the press conference. He made it real clear, saying, quote unquote, that he has an old school mentality, expects his team to be fundamentally and situationally sound, will punch you in the nose, won't beat themselves. Only culture we're going to have in the building is winning, he said. Judge is expected to speak with former Cleveland Browns head coach Freddie Kitchens about a spot on his offensive staff. The two worked together at Mississippi State. On the NHL ice, the latest installment of the rivalry between the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils went to the Broadway Blue Shirts on Thursday night at MSG. Tony DeAngelo recorded his first career hat trick and added 2 assists as the Rangers beat the Devils 6-3. The Devils will now skate in Washington Saturday at 7. The Rangers will travel to St. Louis tomorrow for an 8 p.m. puck drop. The Islanders are also back in action Saturday when they welcome the Boston Bruins at 7. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. On the links, one win away from the PGA Tour's all-time record, Tiger Woods will make his 2020 debut at Torrey Pines. Woods announced on social media Thursday that he'll play in 2 weeks at the Farmers Insurance Open. The move was expected. Woods is an 8-time winner at Torrey Pines, including the 2008 U.S. Open. In other NBA news, Russell Westbrook returned to Oklahoma City Thursday night and was welcomed like a conquering hero. Westbrook was the guy who stayed in OKC. He came with the team from Seattle, was a critical part of the run to the NBA Finals. Then when Kevin Durant bolted, it was Westbrook who re-signed and then went on an historic triple-double run to an MVP trophy. He only left when Paul George forced his way to the coast, and it was time for a rebuild in OKC. Nice tribute, nice moment for him last night. In women's college basketball, congrats go out to Baylor this morning. Tia Cooper scored 27 points. At number 6, Baylor used a dominant fourth quarter to beat top-ranked UConn 74-58 on Thursday night, ending the Huskies' 98-game home winning streak. UConn fell one victory short of tying its own NCAA record of 99 in a row at home. The Huskies' previous loss at home came in the Big East final against Notre Dame on March 12th, 2013. Wow. As New Orleans gets ready to host the College Football National Championship game on Monday night, fans can also get the full experience this weekend in New Orleans. Of course, they can't, Rena. Crews are setting up for concerts, and events throughout the city of Party City. It is. The transformation in downtown New Orleans is underway, including LSU gift shops and other businesses near the Superdome. By the way, I'll take Heisman winner Joe Burrow and the Tigers over powerhouse Clemson in the finale. Michael Andretti has been working diligently to bring Fernando Alonso back to the Indianapolis 500, and it sounds like a deal is imminent. The 2-time world champion Alonso has twice attempted to win the famous oval race with McLaren. In 2017, the British team linked up with Andretti Autosport and Honda in a joint bid before a McLaren Chevrolet venture failed to qualify for the 2019 edition. McLaren is entering its own team into the IndyCar Championship this season, but Alonso is not part of its lineup, meaning a deal to work with Andretti appears the most likely option. I would take him again if he's in it in the Indy 500. And in baseball, the New York Yankees and veteran Chris Iannetta have agreed to a minor league deal. Iannetta, who turns 37 in April, played 14 seasons with 5 teams, including the Colorado Rockies seen there and the LA Angels. Along with catcher Eric Kratz, he'll provide veteran depth competition for Kyle Higashioka as a backup to Gary Sanchez here in the Bronx. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for some perspective on Conor McGregor as he gears up for UFC 246. As McGregor prepares to return to the octagon against Donald Cowboy Cerrone at UFC 246, he is seeking his first win in more than 3 years. Kind of hard to believe that, but Conor didn't fight all that much and was no match for Khabib, of course. To put it into perspective, the last time he raised his arms in victory, Donald Trump was just 4 days removed from winning the U.S. presidential election and had yet to be inaugurated into office. In the time since, the world has changed in just about every way. The business of sports has also changed along with our definition of stardom. Although he still carries this cachet and is bound to capture the attention of the sports world when he arrives in the cage, all of that is in danger of evaporating with a loss next weekend. We live in a world of immediacy and results. With his long MMA absences, McGregor has provided neither. His recent past is littered with a series of troubling events. He's had numerous outside the cage issues, including multiple arrests and 2 concurrent ongoing sexual assault investigations against him. This one he has to win, of course, in the cage. On just about every sports book, McGregor is a 3-1 favorite to beat Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy is now nearly 37 years old, has won just 4 of his last 10 fights, and has been stopped in each of his previous 2 bouts. If anything, the pairing seems like a setup for McGregor, the kind of matchmaking designed to put him in the most winnable fight the promotion could make against a well-known star. McGregor has no room for error, though, even though most will acknowledge Cerrone will likely have a sizable advantage if he drags the fight to the ground. He's not only a jiu-jitsu black belt, but actually has more of his 36 career wins by submission, 17, than by knockout, 10. I think Cowboy somehow gets it done here and pulls off the upset. Excited for next weekend's showdown in Nevada. Share your perspective with me at The Voice Bobby C on social. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C. Stay tuned.